So hello friends of the French forêt region, I am greeting you. You are very welcome on my channel. I joined the 2nd Rep in September 1987. The first thing we had to do because we have had about 23 to 25 applicants for the rep, for the only Parachute Regiment of the French forêt region, was the promotion. And I remember very well, we had about a handful of old NCOs coming from overseas. They had to do a refreshment, and very young stats like me. So if you want to be a paratrooper of the French forêt region in 2nd Rep, we had to firstly to make two tests, TRP 1 and TRP 2, battle dress uniform, or BDU, rucksack 11 kilos, weapon in your hand, 1,500 meters in 9 minutes. Then you have a break, 5 minutes break, and then you start for the windmill TRP, 8 kilometers run you had to do in this time in 45 minutes. So 1.5 kilometers, 9 minutes, followed by 8 kilometers in 45 minutes. And this was not a small thing, but I did it without problems. There were some men who had problems with this. And then this was followed by test TRP2. And I think test TRP2, maybe it was also inverse, was about making push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, all the stuff like this. Climbing a rope 6 meters high was behind the promo. It was the longest rope I ever have seen in the French forêt region, because it was, I think it was not 6, but 10 meters high. And it was very thin, you know, very thin. So you could, it was really hard to grab that cord. You make 2 meters in this direction and 1 meter in this direction. Was an ugly rope, but we didn't like it. And then I had been commanded to join the 1st company of the 2nd Rep. The domain of the 1st company in this time was nighttime warfare, nighttime warfare. So we spent very, very much of our time out there in the night and warfare in urban warfare. In build-up areas, warfare in build-up areas. So in the beginning it was a hard time, because I found out two things who scared me in the 1st company. The first thing has been that we had a lot of old caporal chef and adjutant chef who has been involved in 1978 in the Operation Leopard or Bonnet. Operation Bonnet or Leopard was when 700 legionnaires of the 2nd Rep jumped over the city of Kolwezi in Zaire and liberated thousands of hostages, you know. And they fought against 4,000 Tiger rebels coming from Katanga militias. And we had still a couple of men, caporal chefs and adjutant chefs, who has been there in these operations. And these men have been very tough soldiers. So I was a young sheep and they have been the wolves. So this scares me a little bit, but it was good. In the 1st row, they show you the big fighter, but in the 2nd row, when you have the ability to read between the lines, you could see that they have been very good men with a big heart, you know. And yeah, we had 2 caporal chefs who has been involved in Operation Leopard and Bonnet, and about, I think, one adjutant chef and 1 adjutant. And then the next thing who scares me was the platoon leaders, because the platoon leaders, we had 4. 1 who has been a lieutenant, Lieutenant Cage, 1 my future platoon leader, Adjutant Conta, a man from Corsica. The other one was Adjutant Harris. I think he was a Scottish guy, Jonathan Harris. He was a figure, a legend in the like Conta. He was a legend. He was a living legend in the 2nd Rep. And then the 3rd one, I think it was Ciara. Ciara was I don't know, kind of Polish guy or man coming from Romania, whatsoever. And my platoon leader was Conta, Adjutant Conta, Noel Conta. He was a tough guy. He was a marathon man. He was a runner, a sportive, first rank, you know. And he he was like a wolf. He was like a wolf, like Jonathan Harris, type of man. When they give an order, you better do it. You don't do it, boom. But when you had Harris or Conta as platoon leader and you had any trouble, he would help you out anytime. Kind of man like these, hard men, tough men, like lone wolves, and yeah, everybody loved to be in the section of Harris or Conta. True man, true warrior, true guerriller. Also tough in war and in operation as as on the bar company drinking beer. Better be aware. Better be aware. And I remember coming to beer. I remember we had a bar in our company, a club company. We call it club company. And sometimes when you wanted to go to the club, because there you could buy some croissant, some coffee, some beer, some orangina, some sandwich, whatever you want, whatever your heart desire, when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, and sometimes I went there, but there has been 4 or 5 wolves, Munch, Jean-Pierre Munch, and the old wolves has been on the bar, seeing arriving Caporal Gast coming from Guyana. Hey, dégage, move, move your ass. Not allowed to come in, not today, not now. We are drinking. This was good stuff. Because I made my caporal's course in Guyana. And when you come as a caporal from outside, in the second rep, not having done your caporal course in the second rep, you face problems. Because then you had to prove that you have been a good legionnaire. And you had to prove it on a daily basis. And this was not CEFE. Was a very hard fight, a very hard combat to prove that you are as good as the other ones, as the other caporals coming from the second rep. And I remember we had in our platoon, was the first platoon of the first company, about 8 or 9 caporals. And as you know better than I do, you could divide the caporals in 2 parts. The first, the caporal ballet, the second, caporal commandement. You can figure out is that the caporal ballet, what means sweeping, broom, caporal broom, commando broom, they couldn't do it to be an NCO one day. They mostly terminated their career in the Legion like caporal chef. And caporal commandement, they were the caporals who had in mind, and also reinforced by the commandement, by the platoon leader and the NCOs, to be an NCO one day. NCO, what means sergeant, sergeant chef, adjutant, adjutant chef. So it was a constant fight between us, the caporal, who is caporal ballet and who is caporal commandement. Because when you have been caporal commandement, you had to be grade de relève in the guard, guard 24. And caporal commandement, you also had under your order a small troop, like 4 men, équipe de choc or équipe de feu. You know what I mean? You have been a small commander, and it was a constant fight, whether you are a caporal ballet or whether you are caporal commandement. And sometimes the fight is we have sorted out with our fists. And you have been a caporal commandement when you have been as quick with your fists than with your brain. In the beginning, it was a hard, tough time in the first company, and but I could handle it. It was okay. Of course, we had Pistolet Mach 50 caliber 9mm. We had the FAMAS, the old and good FAMAS. I liked the FAMAS. I loved the FAMAS. And then we had shotguns. I think we had a 12 gauge Mossberg, to open the doors from the buildings. Urban warfare or warfare in build-up areas, and to open the doors. Even we shot them, we pushed them with our shotguns, or we put some explosive stuff outside, and then we really had crossbows. Yeah, crossbows to fight the sentinel and the enemy who has standing guard, watching, silence. But the crossbow was very good, very efficient, and with the crossbow you could easily take out a man in absolute silence. It was, yeah, a tough weapon. And this time we had been organized in the company. We had about 145 men, 4 platoons, and each platoon had about 3 groups, 3 group de combat, and 1 group commandement. And as I told you, 1 section commanded by a lieutenant, and 3 sections commanded by old NCOs, the old guild, the dinosaur of the first company. Great stuff. The color code of the first company was green, because as you know better than I do, each company had a different color code. So we had 4 fighting company and 1 heavy company. The first company was green, warfare in build-up areas. The second company was red, Edelweiss, warfare in the montagne, in the mountains, skiing and all this stuff. They have been out in the winter time in the Monte Shinto area, doing their job in the mountains. The third company had the color code black. Our divers, fighting divers. They did everything who has to do with amphibia, being in the sea, diving, being on the U-boat, and nager de combat. Nager de combat. Understand nager de combat? It's a French expression. I don't remind the English one. And the fourth company has been saboteur and sniper, sharpshooters, snipers, and saboteur. Saboteur, what means going behind the enemy lines and blow up everything they could find. And then we had the blues, compagnie éclairage et d'appui. There you could find the CRAP, Commando de Recherche Action dans la Profondeur, today called CEFE. There you could find Milan. There you could find reconnaissance teams, and at this time a mortar, a section mortar load. We had the SML of the second rep with this time 120 millimeter mortar, right? Our main domain in the first company, of course, was combat, as always. Nothing changed. And I remember when we did combat, I remember the first thing in combat we did all the time, a big rucksack, kind of 30 kilo, go out and marching like the devil, like the fools, En avant, follow your team leader. Then we went up to the mountains and climbing with our back on the door. And sometimes we had some ambush and, stuff like this, reaction on an ambush and stuff like that. It was good. And we jumped a lot. In the first year, in the second rep, in 87. So I joined in September, and until the end of this year, 87, I made 50 static line jumps. 50. This was a lot. And we jumped in Calvi, drop zone Fumiseko. We jumped in Bastia, as well as we jumped this time once in Spain and in Djibouti sometimes, And it was great having so much jumps, because it was wonderful, going on the airplane, in the airport, St. Catherine, most of the time, Transal C-160, parachute on the back, reserve parachute in front, then the EL-32, EL-33, the luggage, the heavy luggage to your knees, and then go out 300 meters. Nice. I loved it. Yes, and by the way, I forgot to tell you, is that when we did the promo, it was all kind of parachute training, how to get out of the Transal, how to behave when you are in the air, how to behave when you touch ground, and all this stuff. So for the promo, we did 6 jumps. All jumps, no, apart the first one, all jumps with luggage, and we had one night jump, and we jumped at night in Bastia, Borgo. My first chef de group, leader of the group, was Saito. Saito was a Japanese guy. He was very funny, but we loved him, I think in this time he was the only Japanese legionnaire we had in the French Foreign Legion. So it was very funny with him. Yeah. He was good. He was friendly. He was nice and very funny, as I told you. Yeah, Saito. He later died in Iraq in an ambush. As he worked in the private security. years later, because Saito, he did it until Adjutant or Adjutant chef. He stayed very long time in the French Legion, and in between he was part of all the actions we had with the regiment, all operations and all interventions. But he died then in an ambush in Iraq. So how was life in the first company in Conrafali, in the second rep? Easy. Whether we have been outside, training, maneuver, whatever, whether we have been in MCD, what mean overseas, Chad, Djibouti, Central African Republic, or whether we have been really in the camp, doing kind of service, a kind of service. And the normal work in a normal week, we work from Monday to Friday, 8 hours a day. Starts in the morning, 7:30, with a footing. Footing was mean with running, with sport. We made a lot of sport, and the day was done. 17:30, the day was done. Then you could go out to the town, to Calvi, iron your journey before, go out, have some fun, have some beers, have some girls, no problem. Or even you went to one of the club, to the gymnasium, to make some workout, whatever. It was your problem what you have done, and you could go to the foyer, to the club company, whatever. And then we worked also Saturday in the morning. Saturday in the morning was Club Légion. Club Légion, what means you could make a kind of Krav Maga, you could make judo, you could make jiu-jitsu, you could play football, volleyball, basketball, everything you want, So it was very sportive in the second rep. And yeah, my first commander-in-chief, talking about chef de corps or colonel, commander of the regiment, has been Wabinski, Colonel Wabinski. And he was kind of, he was good. He was really good. I remember very well Wabinski. Once we had an exercise outdoor maneuver training in the mountains, and I was lying in my shelter. Shelter, what means I digged a hole. I digged a hole. I had a poncho on my head. It was raining outside. It was really raining outside. It was cold and raining, and we have been there for 2 days in a fucking shithole, And once I heard a poof, boom, and there he was my regiment commander, my chef de corps, Wabinski, and he was in my shelter. And then he ordered me to make coffee. I was to make coffee, and he asked if he could have some coffee. And I said, of course, mon colonel. It was the first time I talked with my chef de corps. And then I gave him the coffee with my car. Car is kind of, what we had to drink our coffee, kind of thing like that. And I put some coffee in it, or I gave it to the chef de corps, to Wabinski, and then he smelled, nothing in it. And then he put a Flachmann out of his BDU, battle dress uniform. Flachmann, what means a bottle of metal, and in it was cognac. And he put some cognac in the coffee, and then he drank his coffee with cognac. And he offered me, of course, to drink. It was a great gentleman. And the curious thing was, and we had a good talk. We had a good talk from Caporal to chef de corps. And he didn't stay for 2 minutes. He stayed at least for 20 minutes. It was a very genuine moment for me, talking with my chef, freely with my chef de corps, from man to man, And the curious thing was, I met Wabinski about 10 years later in the airport at Nice. He was in civil clothes, so I presumed that he was done with the French Legion, and he was a civil guy now. And he recognized me immediately, and then he ordered me, come on, Caporal, let's have a drink. And then we went to the bar. We went to the bar of the airport at Nice, to the airport bar, and then he ordered what? He ordered coffee with cognac. What means he perfectly recognized who I was and what happened 10 years before. And then we have been at the bar in the airport at Nisa, drinking coffee and cognac in the early morning. Great stuff. Great. The crest of the first company, you can see it here. It was the 2 of the regiment, then the owl, because we made a night fight, the hunters, the green hunters, and then you had the dragon. Reminds us that our our regiment and our company had been involved in the Indochina War, ended up with the Battle of the Dien Phu. And yeah, first company, the owl, the parachute, and the dragon Danam. You know, I can show it a little bit closer. This was made by a friend. Greetings to Norway, Rocco. This thing, you know, you can see it clearly. Yeah. So this is the crest of our company, and I was very proud to be a part of the first company of the second rep. And at this time, I didn't know that I will live a lot of big adventures with these men, the men of the first company of the second rep. Okay, that's it for today. I wish you all good health, brothers. Stay safe. And my message for today is, war is bullshit. Thanks for listening to me. Amitié Légionnaire, yours, Thomas Gast. Bye-bye. Oh, I forget to sing. I will sing for you the song of the first company we had in this time. Soldadella. Soldadella. Légion étrangère. Ce sont battus. Patronage. Procrus en trompe. De brave légionnaire.
Round, following my feelings, crazy, narrow bound, searching for brothers in arms, turning round, following my feelings, crazy, narrow bound. Here we are, here you are, here I am, moving towards invincibility.